thanks for being here. This is Kat
You're
Henning.
welcome.
She
Hi.
is an amazing friend and cyclist. She lives in Southern California with me, and she's just going to chat all things cycling. Ask whatever questions you want to ask. I have some people commented that we can kind of chat about, but I'll let Kat just kind of introduce herself and kind of see what got her into cycling, and we can start there. So take it
Oh,
away, Kat.
hey, everybody.
Hi, Kat.
So I got into cycling 4 years ago. I had a really bad injury. I used to be a runner and was in a wheelchair for 4 months because of the injury and can't run anymore. So I was looking for something else. And then through other friends, I got introduced to the Challenged Athletes Foundation. And I was working as a massage therapist volunteering there. And I saw how much fun everybody had on the bike. And I'm like, screw the volunteering, I'm getting a bike. Well, I still volunteer, but I ride a lot now. And yeah, it has given me so much. It's just like a community that became a family in a way, and just an amazing sport. Like you can do it all over the world. You can do it alone. You can do it with friends. It's just always there, and it's just changed my life. So that's how I got into cycling. It was like a substitute for running, but it turned into so much more than just a substitute. It's like a main thing for me now that gives me mental health and physical health, and especially with COVID. I mean, I would not have known what to do without my bike.
Which is huge for a lot of different people. Okay, so let's talk all things nutrition while riding. Any tips, tricks, anything you have to do with nutrition and riding before, during, after? Go for it.
So I guess I'm gonna tell you what I know. So I used to work when we had a normal world with professional cycling teams. So I know their aspect of, or how they approach nutrition, and I can talk from my angle. I'm not a nutritionist. I don't know anything, or I can't give advice where I would say you should do this in order to get somewhere. I mean, that's just my stuff is all personal experience and how I handle my life. Usually if I do a big ride, I eat a lot the night before. I try to do really good like carbs, simple pasta or rice, or yeah, mostly those two, and veggies and protein. Because I feel like the first 2 hours of your ride in the morning, your body needs the food from the night before. The breakfast is important, but it's really not that important. Your body goes to what you had the night before. That's where your energy comes from. Professional athletes would tell you the exact same thing. I mean, I've seen boys that are teeny tiny put down pasta like there's no tomorrow the night before, so they can race the Tour de France the next day. So the night before is important if you do like a 4 or 5 hour ride. And then continuously eating throughout the ride is important, but I would say very small portions. Like have a couple of dates or almonds, or there's a bar my friend makes. It's called Joji bars. They're very healthy. It's all like oats and nuts and a little bit of chocolate. They're very tasty. They're almost like a treat, but they have 300 calories. I split them up in half, and I have one every hour and a half, like one part out of the two parts. We should eat like 100 calories per hour or something like that. I think for me, that's what works really well, to not bunk, because once you bunk, it's kind of really ugly. You can never leave that place. You just want to go home or call an Uber or something. Afterwards, I have been told it's more important to drink a recovery shake or something like a chocolate milk, not water, because water washes out, like your muscle fibers tear when you ride. And if you put more water in, it flushes out more minerals and more, it cleans out your muscle in a way. It's like heavy rain on a really dry ground when it just builds these ridges. I don't know if I explained that right. And so usually drink a chocolate milk, and then take a shower, and maybe after that have a meal. I personally don't like to eat after a long ride because I'm not hungry. So I have to force myself. Cheese steak or an egg or something. And then 3-4 hours later, I start eating. But I don't think that's good. So don't do that.
So you should eat right after ride. Eat a meal right after, whether it's a
Probably so.
shake
I mean,
or
something. It all
something.
depends on the ride. If I'm talking like 4 or 5 hour long rides, if you do a 2 hour ride, I think like a little chocolate milk or a glass of milk or I don't know, like a little protein shake or something is probably okay. And then you just go on with your day. I'm talking like more long rides if you want to do endurance stuff on the weekend. But it's important to do recovery. And I mean, you can train as much as you want. If you don't recover right, your training will never get you anywhere.
Fair enough. So then what are some good snacks or treats? You said a couple to eat while you're riding. I know a lot of people love goo or the Cliff Blocks. What are your thoughts on all things snack related?
I like real food. I'm not a big fan of the goose and the blocks and all that. I have a I have a lot of theories on life. One of them, when it comes to the goose, if you read the ingredients, I'm pretty sure you don't know any of those ingredients, what it actually is. So it's it's a last resort, in my opinion. If you like, I have one in my pocket always, but it's like you have to get from A to B, and it's the only thing that would work for you to get from A to B. I would rather go eat a croissant somewhere or something. I'm a fan of real food. So I have Cliff bars or the Joji bars. Or if I don't have that at home, I just grab some almonds and put them in a baggie or apricot. I have a friend of mine, he makes his own goo, which according to him works really well. It's like dates and honey, and he puts it in a blender and has these like teeny tiny snack bag Ziploc baggies. I mean, they're like this, you know which one I mean, right? There's teeny tiny ones. Mm-hmm. And so he takes like 2 tablespoons of that, his own goo, puts it in there, closes it up, and when he rides, he just bites a hole in it and sucks it out. And to him, it's like, but it's natural. It's a natural food. It's not chemicals. And in regards to these goos and stuff, I have a friend in Germany who's like one of the best sprinters in the world in history. And he told me he never does the goo because he thinks that down the road they will come up with some sort of a stomach cancer or something, because people that constantly eat that stuff can be good for you. It's not natural. So we kind of share the same philosophy about natural foods when it comes to riding.
So when you're riding, more natural foods.
My opinion. I don't know other people.
Not for everybody,
food, so
but it's,
I don't know.
But it's a good option. Okay.
But have it in the pocket in case you bump, because it really helps when you bump.
Fair enough. That emergency snack. Always have something with you.
So.
Okay. So then let's talk training. What kind of, do you have any training tips or techniques to either stay motivated or kind of stick to your schedule? And then along those lines, what are your thoughts and philosophies on figuring out what length of a ride to ride and when?
So again, it's all my perspective and how I do stuff. I don't really like to tell people what to do, but I typically plan my week out, how much time I have. I ride in the morning. I'm a morning person. For me, riding, it's right now during COVID, especially, that one piece that's structured in my life. There's everything else is kind of like willy-nilly all over the place, and work comes and goes and all that stuff. So my riding is my structure. And on Sundays, I typically decide what I want to do. So Mondays is a really easy ride. I get a cup of coffee. It's just like a rest day, technically. And then Tuesdays, I start out with 2 hours easy. Wednesday, I have a workout. Thursday, I have easy. Friday, I have a workout. Saturday and Sunday, I ride longer with friends. I try to switch up my bikes. I have a gravel bike, I have a mountain bike, I have a road bike, so that keeps it interesting. But I try to plan what I do, because it's kind of hard when you wake up in the morning and you go like, what am I going to do today? It's really easy to say, screw it. It's a little gray outside. I'm not going to go. So if you have an appointment with yourself, it's probably easier to stick with it. And if you come up with little exercises, there's like lots of stuff on YouTube. For instance, I looked up how to become a better climber. So there's this GNC little podcasts or YouTube videos. And they give you these workouts, like go find a hill and go 5 minutes really hard and 5 minutes really easy and do it 3 times. Like those kind of things. You can be in competition with yourself. You can compare numbers with yourself, how your heart responds, or if you have a power meter, you can obviously see how much power you're pushing. And it just keeps it interesting. You just have to find ways to motivate you. I don't know, if I'm not super mega competitive, like I'd like to do well, but if somebody wants to be faster, it's fine, you know? So it's more about me looking at my Garmin and saying, oh, today was a good day. I was half a mile faster in my 2-hour ride than I was last week, like half a mile per hour. So those kind of things keep me motivated. If you pay attention to the numbers, I think that if you just be in competition with yourself, that's a good motivator, I think. If you find a race, I don't know if there's races coming up anywhere. Here in San Diego, we have a couple of mountain bike races that are going on. Next Saturday's one. I'm not doing it. I'm just watching. I'm doing a practice loop. So
I figured you'd be doing something.
I mean, it's kind of fun if you know there's like a race or a long ride or something, and you can train toward that. In a normal world, that's what I would do.
So in a non-normal world, because we are not in a currently normal world, we've been doing
competition with yourself.
We're confident, which I think is great. So we have been doing with Project Hero a lot of our ride inside programs. So we've taken many of our ride leaders and different riders who have had a big part in Project Hero, and they are ride leading these routes on Ruby. And what we do is everybody can ride together. So you call in and you can have a conversation. So just like this, but you're actually riding and you can see each other riding. So it's hard in that aspect to stay motivated because you're on a trainer all the time. Have you been on a trainer at all?
Yeah, and I really dislike it, but I have done it, and it's kind of like, suck it up. It's not going to be like this forever. I mean, that's what I tell myself, and it's just part of my week that I set up for myself in regards to training. Let's say if we had like 5 days of rain here in San Diego in a row, I would be on the trainer because there's no way I can make it outside. And I would still get up, put my bibs on, get on the freaking trainer, be miserable, but do it. Because the truth is, afterwards, we do feel better. We do feel more accomplished, and we are happier. I mean, I don't think there's anybody that says, oh, I wasted an hour on the trainer. I feel horrible. I should have slept in. I think we all feel better afterwards.
I think you are most likely right there.
Yeah.
Okay. So anything else that you would want to share cycling related at all?
I think just find a couple of really good friends and try to set goals with them. I have one really good friend that I ride with most of the time. And if I don't want to go, he's like, well, I know where you live, so you better get dressed because I will be there. You know, I mean, I think those kind of things really help to be have accountability. Another thing that helps to motivate people is if you can afford it, to get a coach. to get a trainer that gives you workouts. I mean, I think that's something that's really a great tool, because even professionals have coaches. Somebody needs to kick your ass. So
Absolutely. Okay, well, I think that all sounds amazing. So as of right now, what does your training schedule look like? Like on average, how many miles are you riding a week?
well, I do everything in kilometers. So
Oh, that's
I'm
right.
sorry, hold on, I can Google it.
It's
Um,
fine.
well, last year, because of COVID, I had a streak going that was, I wanted to ride every day. I wanted to outride COVID because I thought that maybe it would go away. I was hoping it would go away.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured, well, I'm just going to take advantage of all the shutdown, all that stuff. I ride every day. I made it 217 days in a row. And then I got stung by a bee and I had a really bad reaction. And then
Oh.
my whole face was swollen, my neck was swollen. I had a fever. Then I was scared that I had COVID. And my friend told me, no, you are completely swollen and deformed in the face. You for sure have not COVID. You have an allergic reaction. And that was my ride out COVID. The bee came in, like the bee killed it for me.
The bee killed it, but you did over 200 days, which is incredible.
But I
But I
did
think,
like 20,000, I think 20,000 miles last year.
Wow.
which is outrageous. And I think
That's
that
when
also
you
shows
when there's no work, what are you gonna do?
true, but it also shows you were dedicated. You had a goal in
Right.
mind and you stuck with it. And I think that kind of transfers to everybody's life in some sort of aspect. You have a goal, you stick to it, and you just slowly work to it or towards it, whether it's every day or every other day. Like you're
Right.
still getting out there and working towards that goal.
I think if you stick with it, if you form a habit, there's this book, The Habit. I mean, it takes a while for a person to form a habit. For me, it has become a habit to get on the bike and ride. I feel really weird if I don't. I mean, I'm okay. I don't have a mental disorder where I feel like I need to, and I go crazy. But at the same time, it's not just the physical aspect of it. I mean, it's really hard for me to say this, but I would have probably done something bad to myself if I had not been on the bike in the past year, because I live by myself. I don't have my family here. My family is like half around the world. So it gets lonely. So the writing was a substitute or it was helping with my mental health. And I think that's part of me I recognize that I need the ride to be healthy in my head. And that is a motivation itself. So.
Absolutely. And I think that's, as we've talked about with our Ride Inside program, it's very similar to, we have a lot of individuals who are along those lines, and they have found major comfort in being able to ride inside and still feel like we have that community when they're on the phone riding together. They still feel like they're together, whether they're in New York and you're in San Diego, you can still ride together, or New Jersey or Texas or wherever you are, we're all still riding together. And I think that's definitely something that's come out of this is the community aspect, and we're all rallying to be there together for one another.